Let's talk about one of the biggest reasons people don't start a podcast or too soon. It's not their message, it's not their confidence, it's the technology. And today I want to show you how I keep my podcast tech simple, organized, and actually supportive, not overwhelming. So, hey, friends, I'm Laura Templeton, and this is week 3 of my behind the scenes YouTube series where I'm walking through how I built my podcast. This is not the podcast itself, this is the process behind it. And today I'm sharing the exact tools I use, how they work together, and why I've intentionally kept my tech stack lean. Here's the truth I want you to hear loud and clear. More tools do not equal better results. Clarity creates consistency, not complexity. It's a tool that adds friction, confusion, or stress. It doesn't belong in your workflow. Let me say that again. If a tool adds friction, confusion, or stress, it does not belong in your workflow. So when I choose tools, I ask 3 questions. Does this simplify my process? Does this support connection? Does this help me follow through consistently? If the answer isn't yes, it's a no. So when it comes to content support, ChatGPT plays a big role behind the scenes. I use it to help me think, not to replace my voice, but to sharpen it. It helps me outline episodes, develop solo topics, create email templates, develop scripts for my solo episodes, build guest intake forms, interview questions, and map out interview frameworks. It's also one of my favorite tools for repurposing content. So one great conversation doesn't live in just one place. And honestly, this is where ideation really begins for me. AI doesn't do the work for me. It helps me get out of my own way so I can focus on the message. Right? That's the powerful benefit of using AI. No matter what platform you use. I love ChatGPT. It's my platform of choice. It's part of my tech stack. So when it comes to recording, let's start there, right? So let's start recording because this is where most people get stuck. I record my podcast using Zoom. I had considered several other platforms, but at the end of the day, I landed on Zoom. Yes, Zoom. It's familiar, it's reliable, and it keeps the focus on the conversation, not the technology. I want my guests to feel relaxed, not nervous about learning a new software. And Zoom removes the barrier instantly. Everybody's familiar with Zoom. I will tell you right now, I wish I had stock in Zoom about 5 years ago, before everybody knew what Zoom even was. So it is the tech that everybody now knows because we've all been using it for about 5 years now, and it's the most familiar. So that's why I decided to stick with Zoom. When it comes to guest onboarding, once the episode is recorded, everything flows through PodcastBud. PodcastBud is a fairly new podcast marketing tool that is focused on using AI to help you build a better marketing plan around your podcast. This is where I onboard guests, I manage episode details, and organize all my marketing assets, and even push my podcasts out from there because I can schedule everything through PodcastBud. PodcastBud acts as the central hub. It keeps guest communications professional, clear, and streamlined. From PodcastBud, episodes go to Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout handles distribution to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Listen, YouTube podcasts, and other listening platforms without friction. You can actually attach whatever podcast platforms that you want to distribute your podcast to from Buzzsprout. So once it's one clean place to manage publishing, it makes a huge difference, right? It when you have one place to publish from, and everything goes out from there, it just makes a huge difference. You're not having to try and figure out how to get it on all the different platforms. All you need to do is connect it to Buzzsprout. As far as video goes, PodcastBud also publishes video episodes to my YouTube podcast playlist. Now, this is different than the YouTube podcast that Buzzsprout submits to. That's audio only. This is actually the video playlist, right? Because visibility matters. You want to make sure that your video is out there as well. If you are recording video, you're taking the time to record people in an interview session, or if you're recording yourself doing a solo presentation, or if you're doing a roundtable discussion, make sure to record it and use the video. People love watching videos. So some people like to listen, some people watch, and some people do both. YouTube allows the conversation to reach people where they already are. That's the most important thing, reaching your audience where they like to hang out. So once the episode is scheduled, my guests receive an email with a link to everything they need to promote their episode, and they get this email from PodcastBud. PodcastBud creates all the information that they need to actually access so that they have graphics, they have links, they have captions. This makes promotion easy. And when it's easy, it actually happens, right? You want your guests to be promoting the podcast just as much as you are promoting the podcast. So PodcastBud, PodcastBud. All right. So there's the tongue twister, right? So PodcastBud creates content for me. So content support and repurposing is where PodcastBud really shines because they use the AI, right? Once the episode is uploaded to PodcastBud, their AI builds my content by subscribing, like for transcribe by, they transcribe my episodes, they create show notes, generate blog posts, give me amazing suggestions for blog title or for my podcast titles, right? They, create email copy and social content, not just for me, but for my guests as well. So it also helps generate clips and keeps everything organized in one place. I love it. I can actually go in there, see who my guests are, see who's applied to be a guest. I can actually reach out to my guests that way. I can communicate with them through email. I can look at all of the, the information that they've submitted to be on the podcast. I see their bios. I learn more about them, the questions that they've answered for me. So everything's all in one place. And I love that. I can see, I got the guest hub there. I've got the podcast drop, the whole screen of all my podcasts, where they are in the schedule, if they've been scheduled, if they're still in draft, if they've been published, what kind of results I'm getting there. It's beautiful because there's even like the algorithm is built into the back end, so you can actually see what kind of traction your podcasts are getting. So, and from there, it goes out to, I can actually share content and give the link to my guests. So everything is organized in one place and it saves a tremendous amount of time. I also use Canva, and I love Canva for my visuals. So I create all of my visuals, my social posts, the episode graphics, thumbnails, everything. It all stays on brand, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? I create all my templates in Canva, go in, plop the information about the podcast, the title, the episode number, the guest name. It's all their guest image. I put it all there, and Canva just makes it easy. I love using Canva for generating graphics and images. So then workflow and traffic is really, tracking is really easy because I have PodcastBud, but behind the scenes, I also use GoHighLevel to support the podcast. I use GoHighLevel for my podcast page, newsletter updates, and podcast subscribers, and ongoing guest engagement. So PodcastBud manages the podcast, and GoHighLevel supports the communication and connection with my website. When each tool has a clear role, the entire system stays simple, and simple systems are the ones you actually stick with. God doesn't call you to master technology. He calls you to steward the message. If the tech feels heavy, simplify it. Clarity brings peace, and peace fuels consistency. So if you're building your own podcast workflow, remember this. Use familiar tools whenever possible. Remember, remove barriers for guests. Above all, you want to make sure that your guests, it's easy for them to apply. It's easier for them to get the content. It's easy for them to show up, to get the schedule. Oh yeah, I forgot. Scheduling tool. I actually use the scheduling tool in the back end of GoHighLevel for my podcast guests to schedule a time to be on my podcast. So that's another thing that I use GoHighLevel for in one of my tech tools. Love using calendars. It's so much easier than chasing people down to get them on your calendar, right? Centralize your systems. Automate what you can and let clarity guide every decision. Make sure that it is clear. This feels good. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it, right? That's the biggest thing. And when you make it easy, make it simple, it's fun, right? If you have a system set in place, it makes a big difference. So if you want help clarifying your podcast before choosing tools, download the podcast clarity worksheet. It will help you build a system that fits you. If you want to see exactly how the workflow comes together, including templates and guest assets, you'll find all of that inside the Brand Success Hub. So next week, we're talking about recording with confidence, how to show up naturally on camera or mic without overthinking. You don't need complicated tech. You need a clear message and a simple system that supports you. I'm Laura Templeton, and until next time, stand strong, land well, stand strong, lead well, and speak with heart.